We're preparing to go live, so we may be live any second. You never know.
Yeah. Sometime. Any second to 5 minutes.
I'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here today. If you didn't hear me, please sign in. That's very important for the note-taking. And come to the microphone to speak. Please say and spell your last name, or your whole name. Is there any public comment? Any public comment online? No?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Angie Paulson, Paulsen, Broward County Clerk and Recorder. I just wanted to give an update. Yesterday we had the May 5th, 2026 Townsend School District Number 1 election, which went very smooth. Thanks to staff and to the school and the cooperation from commissioners and everybody in the courthouse. So appreciative of your support. I just wanted to give the results, even though I did post these online, and these are unofficial until canvassed. And as you guys are familiar, the canvassing is the governing body stating what the final results are, dependent upon provisional ballots and such. We don't have any of those at the moment, so this will most likely be the final numbers. But I would just like to read those out loud, Madam Chair, if you're okay with that, the results? Okay. Jean M. Hodges had a total of 794 votes. Jason Kuhl had 1,020 votes. And Chase Patrick G. Reagan had 648 votes. So Jean Hodges and Jason Kuhl will be sworn in after the vote is canvassed. I think next Tuesday I'm working with Chairman Noyes on the date that those votes will be canvassed with the Townsend School Board. So those will be the 2 board trustees for 3-year terms. And then just one other announcement. We got the primary ballots out the door today to the post office, and those will be in the mail this Friday, May 8th. So people could see those ballots as soon as Saturday. So, and if anybody has any questions, please let me know, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Any other public comment, online or from the room? Any other public comment?
Do you have any?
Yeah, I do. But
Jessica, go ahead. You lead off.
So Commissioner Rickmeyer and I got to tour the Sandfire mine over in Missoula, or not Missoula, White Sulphur. That's not even close to Missoula. Last Thursday, I think it was. Yeah. But it was just kind of giving a quick update on it. It was very informative. We got to go to their facility on Main Street there and do a presentation. They kind of updated it. We learned a lot about the mine and copper that I never knew before. So it was very interesting. They're hoping to get started in the next year or two-ish to actually start construction. But yeah, it was really informative. It was kind of one of the things that we learned was it's one of the best actual copper in the world. There's only one mine in the world, and it's in the Congo that has better copper than the mine in White Sulphur. So it was very, very informative. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to it.
I do. I have a couple things to add. One thing I found funny is Nancy Schlepp, who manages everything for Sandfire. She's their government communications person. She was also a former commissioner in Mark County. She said she got kind of this underhanded comment from Trout Unlimited, or compliment. Underhanded, backhanded, basically saying that they have done things so well that it's going to really open the door for other people in that industry because they've gone above and beyond industry standards. The Supreme Court case ruled in their favor and is wrapped up, so yeah, they expect to be going in a year. One thing I found really helpful in the discussion over there is what they've done within their community. There is a Mark County Stewardship Council. And they really kind of, they started in 2018, like in conjunction with, I shouldn't say in conjunction with, but knowing that the mine was coming. And what they have done is they're working together with Sandfire to basically support the community, look for community's needs. Part of this is Montana has a Hard Rock Mining Impact Act. It's really interesting, and it requires large-scale hard rock mines to prepare impact plans addressing local government service and facility needs with financial or non-financial contributions to offset increased costs. Now, there's a bunch of details, I won't get into that, but they have to do consistent reviews and support the community. So if they bring in 100 workers and several of those have kids, and that's going to impact the school, they have to step up, and the mine has to step up and provide that support to the school. So it's kind of neat. They are just wrapping up, and they have an MOU with it's Tintina, Montana still. It's kind of interesting, the holdings, but Sandfire Mine or Black Butte Copper, all the same thing. And the Mark County Stewardship Council have an MOU, and they are finishing up a community benefits framework. And that's going to kind of outline the investments and the ways the mine will contribute and continue to contribute to the community, which will help. It will help financially in a big way. So I appreciate that, being in economic development, kind of looking at what we might have set up in our own community should we have a major player such as, we probably won't have a mine, but if something similar should come into our county.
Anything else?
Did you have anything else?
I do, but go ahead.
No, you go first, because I know what you're going to talk about, so go ahead.
No, you don't.
I think I do.
I have a couple things, so bear with me. MDT will be here August 20th, about 3 o'clock, time to be determined, but it's not till August. They will use this room, have an open house. It will be come and go. They will talk about all their projects in Broadwater County. They will have visuals, so you don't have to be here the whole time. I attended it sounds very hoity-toity, but if you know me, I'm not. Monday night at the governor's mansion, and it was with MDT engineers. So it was really good. It was a really good, just a social hour to talk in more depth with some MDT people I hadn't met, but I've seen on Teams meetings for 2 years. So it's just always nice to put a face. So they're very excited about this. We just, literally just this morning, can put on a link on our website, county website. It says MDT Broadwater County Projects, and it's under the community section. It's pretty visible. Take a look if you have trouble finding it. We just put one item on there. As we get updates on projects in Broadwater County, it will go there. Because I know often we say, look at the MDT website. Well, that's huge. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for Broadwater County projects. It'll take a little bit more time than I usually do on public comment. There's been some social media still comments, opinions about the security of the courthouse. And you get another chair. Just a couple things. This was not a spur-of-the-moment decision by any means. This has been going on for 3 years at least. We have a safety committee that meets on a very regular basis. Over the time I've been here, we've had at least 2 security experts go across the state of Montana looking at small counties for safety, security, how to improve them. Most of them, there's no way we could afford to do that. You know, most of the big counties are going to a metal detector. You have to have somebody there. Obviously, that's not appropriate for our county. According to the National Center for State and County Courts, the #1 thing small counties, or any county can do, any building I should say, is a single entry that stops people coming in from all different directions. You can go out our doors, all of our doors, but single entry. The reason that space was selected, because there's handicap parking very close by, and it's by the elevator. So that was the only option for us. The second best thing people can do is secure access, meaning codes, key codes, anything like that. You've seen, if you've been in the county, you've seen all of our doors now have those. And then the third thing is cameras. We have cameras. The schools look different. I drove by our school yesterday. Schools look completely different than they did 10 years ago with the security, for obvious reasons, to protect the children and the teachers. Our courthouse is looking different. A lot of courthouses are looking different. Our priority is to protect our employees. And this is where I get kind of, I don't know, angry, or we're also protecting the public. The last thing we want is to have somebody come in and hurt a public resident, a resident. I don't want to go home that night with that on our mind. So we've done the very best that we can, not just to protect employees. The world, we need to acknowledge that the world has changed. None of us like it. Change is hard. But here we are. We're in this space trying to keep people safe. The hospitals changed their access doors. You're going to see more and more of that. And yes, it's inconvenient at times. I looked up on MDT yesterday or last night. The app AADT, annual average daily traffic on this stretch from Helena to Bose, or to Three Forks. And this was a year old, 7,200 cars daily. And I know it goes up in the summer. I absolutely believe that. So it's not just our residents coming in, going to the courthouse. Keep in mind, we have divorce proceedings upstairs. We have people charged with drugs, with violent crime. That's part of our role as commissioners, is to keep as many people safe as possible. I guess that's it. Bear with us. We're open to ideas, but keep in mind, this is what you're going to see across the United States. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Paducah, Kentucky. Kentucky's dear to my heart. There's a mass shooting in Paducah, Kentucky. If you've ever been there, you would never go there. I don't know why anybody would, but that's a small town in Kentucky. And Uvalde, Texas, however you pronounce that. Those residents never thought anything would happen there. So we want to protect everybody the best we can. Speech is over.
I have a couple things to add, just a couple. Okay.
Right there.
There was a local incident, or just an incident in
thank
Clark County last year at their courthouse with firearm. And just last week, we had an angry, aggressive member of the public. We had to call the sheriff's office. They get threatening, they get aggressive, and it happens, I don't want to say frequently, but it does happen consistently. So everything that Debbie said, again, there's dedicated parking. We kind of changed our whole parking situation. We put up special signs at the back end of the courthouse, regular parking, handicap parking, accessibility. It is closer from the parking spaces to that door than it is from the street to the front doors of the courthouse. It's easier. I agree, change is hard. I don't think any of us, we all live in a small place, in a small town for a reason. It is uncomfortable and frustrating to see the outside world creeping in. I think if you take 5 minutes and talk to any of the deputies at the sheriff's office, they will tell you we are not in Mayberry, and there is a lot of drugs that come through this town. And again, like Debbie pointed out, there are several even violent cases that are getting worked on upstairs in the courtroom and are tried. Single point of entry, nationally recognized best practice. It was actually recommended to have the metal detector, but that requires a lot more money and someone to staff the metal detector. I guess I want to leave everybody, and I did in my reply to social media, which I don't like to get involved in that, but my reply is, are the consequences of a single event acceptable to our public if something were to happen? Or would people say, why didn't you guys do something? Why weren't you prepared for this? So I think just keep that in mind when it feels like you were inconvenienced. If something were to happen, and it could have been done better, are those consequences acceptable to everybody? Just finish with that. Feel like I'm lecturing? Sorry.
I'd just like to reiterate too, this isn't a knee-jerk reaction to a single event. This was over years of studies, independent studies, multiple independent studies that came to the same conclusion. So this is not a knee-jerk reaction. And if you want information, call one of us, email one of us, come to us. You're going to get a lot better information from us than you are going to from Facebook.
Any other public comment?
I had one other thing that I forgot. Not with the entrance. I don't know if anybody realized or noticed, but the rest area was closed over the weekend. There was a pressure switch that went out in one of the wells, so they got it. It was shut down for like a day and a half. They got it repaired. It's back up and running. John Schwartz with MDT has kind of been my contact with for the rest area, and he did say to let me know. Let's just pulling it up. There's a contractor that they have. There was some issues with a lot of different things. The sidewalk was heaving, so they had to rip the sidewalk out. So they're doing some warranty. It's all under warranty right now. So there's going to be some warranty work that has to be done. The contractor's getting close to it, so there might be periods where they shut it down during the construction. And he's going to try to let me know beforehand, so we will try to make a public comment just to let everybody know that if and when it will be closed.
One more quick thing. Fingers crossed, Old Town Bridge is expected to open Friday.
Yay!
I said expected because you just never know with construction if there's some little thing, but Friday. And please watch your speed when you drive down that road, because I know people are anxious to have it opened, and the sheriff's office is aware of that. Any other public comment online or in person?
Did not expect to do this. Alana Griffith, Representative Griffith, GRIFFITH. I represent House District 60. I also sit on the Access to Justice Commission. I'm the legislative appointee to that. I'm the former Secretary Treasurer of the Montana Bar Association, and I have worked in courts. I have been working on this issue loosely in the background with you guys for years, and I just want to reiterate that I know you've done the studies. I know it's a very difficult transition, and as a member of the bar and a member of the committee, I appreciate the work that you've done, so thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, first thing on the agenda. Monthly report, MCA 76612 from Broadwater County Treasurer Melissa Franks.
Good morning. Melissa Franks, Franks. I apologize I didn't get this to you guys sooner. And the spreadsheet is too big to print, so I sent it. I was thinking Bill would be listening or watching, and I sent it to him, hoping he would be able to pull it up if you had questions, but I guess he's not.
He's listening.
Oh, he is? Okay. Anyway, so on the spreadsheet, if you the cash report that I just handed you is the first bundle of paper. That's what last week Bill was talking about. Is that would be a very helpful tool when we're looking through these meetings. The very last page will show you the total for the disbursements for the month of March. You'll see that at $1,961,937.23. You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's where I get my numbers for this spreadsheet that Bill came up with to talk about with you guys. So that disbursement is everything that takes place that is dispersed out throughout the month for all county funds. Does anybody have any questions?
It's helpful.
Next would be the motor vehicle report for the month of March. If you look at that, it's a one-page report, very simple, but it does break out what is collected through the month, and then which funds it'll go to, how much goes to the state, how much we retain.
Is that what we retain, is that the 47,000?
Correct.
and change.
The next one you're going to see is the entitlement share. I printed the JV for you and also the graph that the state provides so that we know exactly how much of that total amount that we received goes into different funds. And that stays the same. I don't think that changes unless something happens at the state level. They'll let us know, but normally that stays through the whole year and we get quarterly payments. So the one that you're looking at for March is the third quarter payment. And that kind of, that journal voucher is going to break down, you know, how much and which funds, as you can see. So you should be able to kind of, it's pretty easy to read.
Will we receive this, or is this part of the withholding, the state withholding right now?
This one, I believe, well, we received this in March.
Okay.
So I don't think it should be part of the withholdings.
Okay.
The next paper that you'll have will be what we get each month for our interest payments, all the interest that comes in. That, what you see is the amount that we got for the month of March, and it involves the D.A. Davidson, Buchanan, STIP, our shadow account. I'm thinking that's all of them.
Can you explain the
Sure.
shadow account? Because that just sounds
Yes,
so.
it is not
horrible.
a great name. I didn't come up
No,
with
it's
it. That is,
terrible. It's
that is from the bank. That's what the bank calls it. Basically what it is it's an account that I have, it's a little bit like STIP, you know, or it yields about the same percentage as STIP did, or it did when we first started using it. But we were putting all of our money in STIP and then transferring money out into the public account so that we can pay what we needed to, bring money in, put money out. And that's great, but we were finding that we had, as we get bigger and more transactions are taking place, more money was going out and coming in, and it takes a day to transfer funds. So it was easier to have some of that money in this shadow account. And what it is it holds, it accrues interest, just like, almost like STIP. But it's easy access. I can literally go in and transfer that day what I need, either in or out. And so it's easier for us to have the access to the money. But it also, during the evenings, it takes that total amount and breaks up $250,000, depending on how much is in there. So overnight, that money is broken out in several different other accounts, bank accounts. And the next morning, it's all back together. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but that way we're keeping up with the FDIC requirements of the $250,000. So it's all secure. There's a sweep account, which is basically like a pass-through from the shadow account to the public account. So when I transfer money, I transfer from the sweep out of the shadow and into the public account.
Melissa, would you explain to the public what STIP is?
STIP is Montana's Board of Investments. I guess majority of, I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure, but majority of the counties keep most of their money in STIP, I believe. It's pretty safe. I mean, we've had it forever since I've been around, so. I don't
And
know.
that total for March of interest
Mhm.
earned is, you want to give that the total?
For the month of March, the total that we received was $65,732.39. And that's everything from all of the interest that we get from our CDs, STIP, the bank account.
And just in case the public didn't know it, or we've talked about it a little bit, quite a bit actually, 3+1 Cash Fest is working with us to make sure that our investments are where they should be, give us just an overview of all of our investments, checking accounts, everything. Maybe we could do better. Maybe we need to move things around. So they're looking at it each month. So we've just started that program this 3 months ago. So we're excited about that year end, to see what we could change. They will not change anything for us. They give us advice, we take it or not. They have access to accounts, but read only.
Read only, yep.
So it's an interesting program.
It's the best way to optimize anything that's sitting in an account.
Yep.
As far as interest earnings go. So you're making the most of your money sitting there.
Real quick, I just wanted to point out as well, for the month of March, we were talking about delinquent taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So the month of March, for real property, we were at $314,367.80 for the 2025 real property taxes. That is the amount that we have delinquent at this time. That does not include the second half that is coming up in June. And then for the mobiles, for the month of March, I'm sorry, not just that this is the month of March, it's total, but it's for 2025. The delinquency is $47,361.98.
Since you're here, Melissa, I didn't have time to read the whole article this morning about mobile home taxes increasing.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
I don't know exactly the details or the percentages, but yes, throughout the state, all the mobile homes have increased their rates. So we haven't gotten a whole lot of calls. I was anticipating more. We've gotten a couple, but nothing outrageous or anything.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. So, but it did go up for the entire state for mobile homes.
Was that part of, I wonder, the changes to the bills? Yeah, the rate?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Which is set by the legislature.
correct. Yeah.
I'd like everybody to know that.
Yeah, we had nothing to do with it.
The rate is set by the
We're not
legislature.
going to get into that today.
No, but, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
One more question. Can you give a update on the withholding situation with the state?
Yes, right now, after this meeting, I'm heading back and I'm going to be working on our April balance. We've got everything pretty much in. We just now need to do the procedures to balance everything. We have, we went through and we had a large list of outstanding payroll transactions. We got that taken care of last month. That brought us down to about 128,000. That is off right now. And yesterday I worked on, or last week and yesterday I worked on the outstanding list for warrants and the claims attached to those warrants. There was quite a few, 557, so that was a lot of work to do. Took care of that. That's just under 30,000, so that will bring us down further. So we are getting that amount off. The offage is getting lower and lower, and once we determine what exactly that dollar amount is this week, then we will be working with the auditor to adjust that offage. I believe next week we'll be having some resolutions to look at.
The outstanding warrants,
Mm-hmm.
those are just checks that were never cashed, not
Correct.
warrants in the sense of criminal, but
Right, sorry,
Warrants,
yes,
yeah,
checks.
yes.
They were checks that have not, and we had quite a few that were several years old, some of them back from conversion, but a lot of them were from 24 and 25. Yeah, and if anybody was to come in and say, hey, I have this, but I didn't, we'll honor it,
They didn't
you know.
cash it, okay.
Yes, we will, absolutely. So,
are we putting a timeline? Are we considering a timeline?
we haven't talked about it, but I
On
suppose
the-
we probably could. I mean, a lot of them,
Like void after 90 days or something?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. These were all, majority of them were over a year old, but quite a few of them were even further back than that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right,
Keep up the good work.
thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Me too.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, West Side Trails subdivision representative request approval of trip calculation deviation from 8 vehicle trips per day to 5.3. Don't know who wants to start that conversation?
Going once?
Alana Griffith, attorney for Three Forks Properties, GRIFFITH. I think I'm here just to answer questions. We talked about this last week. I know you were going to talk to your legal counsel and come back and make a decision. So we are here and willing to answer whatever questions may have arisen during that discussion.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we had a really good conversation last week about this, back and forth, and what are your thoughts today? Where are we at?
Looking straight at me.
Well,
What?
either one of you.
Honestly, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I went back, looking at the regs. It clearly states on page 73, it lists or as identified in a traffic study, current traffic study. It was allowed in previous page. There's been updated traffic studies with each one. Let's see, and then the clause number 12 in the agreement says the county will use the actual road count. So entering into this agreement shall fulfill any and all road conditions needed for Three Forks Properties to obtain West Side Trails final plat for Phase 1 from Broadwater County. County shall use the actual road count when considering future road condition needed to obtain approval for future phases. So, I would support it. And again, it's not a it's not a county road, there's subdivision roads, so.
No, I feel like that it's, what they've presented meets the criteria set forth in our regulations.
I agree. We had a lot of documentation to look at and review, so that was very helpful, actually. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the request for the approval of the trip calculation deviation from 8 vehicle trips per day to 5.3 vehicle trips per day.
I'll second that. Do we need to say what phase? Is that important?
Yeah, it'd be for Phase 4.
Okay. Yeah, I'll second
Good
that.
catch, yeah.
There's a motion and a second to approve the trips per day to 5.3 for West Side Trail subdivision Phase 4. Any public comment? Any public comment? Anything online? There's a motion and a second to approve West Side Trails major subdivision request for trips per day to be 5.3 on Phase 4. I worded that slightly differently, but we got it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Sorry about that, Angie.
I've been doing this long enough, I know what you're about to say.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anytime you want to talk about property taxes, happy to do so.
Oh, I will get in the weeds with you.
I represent Big Sky, so I got to do it.
Oh,
yes,
I
that's
do
right.
People with 500 online, so.
Awesome. Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Broadwater County Extension Agent Allison Costo request to create part-time 4-H assistant position.
Good morning. I do have some packets for you guys. Some of this is stuff you've already seen, but there are a couple new additions there. One of which is just hot off the press is the Ike County annual report.
Hot off the press. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, it just came in this week. And then I have a couple of other less detailed packets for public if anyone wants. And the other thing that's in there is 4-H enrollment data as well. Is anyone from the public? No one? Fine.
Just to make you feel good.
Yes, didn't make those copies for nothing. Okay, good morning again. I'm Allison Costo, Allison Kosto. I'm the MSU Extension Agent for Broadwater County. Really excited to be here today to talk about the potential of hiring, creating a 4-H assistant position in our office. What I thought I would do is talk a little bit about the history of the staff in our office and how that's kind of evolved through the years, just for the sake of both the commission and the public who may be new to this conversation, why I think that this position is needed, and then kind of what we're proposing and what that kind of solution is that we're looking at. So starting a little bit with the history. So I started as extension agent here in Broadwater County in 2015. At that time, we had a longtime administrative assistant who had recently transitioned to 32 hours. Her role at the time was very kind of a standard administrative assistant that did a lot of secretarial work at that time. I feel like we still had some very traditional systems in place that required more of that type of work. And then kind of fast forward to 2018, and in that short 3 years, we had a huge increase in 4-H enrollment. It increased by 50% in just 3 years. And so when my administrative assistant at that time retired, I took that opportunity to redesign that administrative assistant position a little bit to include some increased 4-H responsibilities. At that time in 2018, I kind of had this vision of, maybe eventually working towards a full-time kind of administrative assistant / 4-H assistant was kind of the vision at that time. And so we went along for a little while, not very long though. In 2019, my administrative assistant that I had at the time left to be a stay-at-home mom, which I commend her for. And we re-advertised the position and had a hard time filling it. Right at that same time, the fair manager position was also vacant, and they were having a difficult time filling that position. So former Commissioner Folkford approached me of the idea of combining the extension administrative assistant with the fair manager role. I had some concerns. Obviously the biggest one is the peak of our busy season for both of those positions is this, the same time during the summer. But at that time, we were also having some budgetary concerns, and we were having trouble filling both of them, and it seemed like a good option to consider to maybe kind of as a compromise to try to figure out the best way to kind of solve some of these challenges. So I agreed to it with the understanding that this was going to be a little bit of a work in progress to figure out how it was all going to work together. So that was in 2019. Then 2020 came along, and it was COVID. We did not have a fair. So the 2019, that individual and that role was hired in the fall. So their first fair would have been 2020, but we did not have a normal fair that year due to COVID. And so it wasn't until 2021 that we actually saw that combined position in action. And around that same time, around 2021, the Fair Board also went through a major transition in losing some longtime board members who were also extremely involved as volunteers at the fairgrounds and on the Fair Board. And so when those board members stepped back, we had some conversations about those roles that those volunteers took on and how to fill those. And the reality of it was it was unlikely that we were ever going to find a volunteer that was going to do some of those same things. And the other piece of that, they were doing some things that probably in reality were better done by a county employee, things like contracts, liability, things like that, that really probably would make the most sense to be done with a county position. So over the course of these last 4 years, we've continued to tweak the time allocation for this combined position. Again, the Extension Administrative Assistant and Fair Manager. The Fair Manager role has just changed quite a bit in the last 4 years. And so what once started out as a position that was 32 hours extension and 8 hours fair, today has gone down to 28 hours extension and 12 hours fair. Now, that doesn't mean that extension responsibilities have been any less. It's just that the fair role has changed so significantly. And Jessica has been in that role quite a while now, Jessica Erickson, and does a great job of basically doing more with less. And she's efficient. She's learned how to do these things. But I feel like if we were ever to have to replace her, which knock on wood, we don't have to anytime soon, that I don't know that we could ever ask another person to do those same things in the same way that she's been doing it. And as that time has gone on as well, what has happened is been able to, with that position, being able to be less flexible to changing needs and evolving needs, both in our 4-H program, with our extension program, because obviously our county is growing, our programs are growing, and it just makes that ability to be flexible and to make those quick changes very difficult. And so for a while there, I kind of lost the dream of maybe having a 4-H assistant, but the window seems to have opened again, and so that's why I'm here today. So that's the history of kind of where we are today and how we got here. So the why, I do want to talk about that, and something that I shared with the commission is our 4-H enrollment and volunteer membership history. So I have there the most recent 6 years, and then the back page shows, I think it's a little over 10 years of 4-H enrollment data. And so you can see in the last 10 years, the 4-H program has grown, I think 55%, I think is what it calculates to, or just under that. So it's grown a lot. Our volunteer base has grown tremendously. It's more than doubled in the last 10 years. And I guess a couple things I want to note on both our membership and our volunteers. First, talking about membership. So one thing that I've kind of noticed happening, and you can see that when you look at those numbers, is we've kind of plateaued a little bit around this 140 mark when it comes to enrollment. And I've thought a lot about that, and why is that? Why? Because we certainly have the kids here, we certainly have the growth here, and I think that is happening for a couple reasons. And I think a lot of it comes back to just our administrative capacity to handle more kids. I think that seems to be maybe the mark of where we seem to be doing a good job with what we have now. But I know that the opportunity exists to breach that and break that. And I'll be totally honest with you, I don't promote the 4-H program because I don't know what I would do if I had, an additional 30 kids come into our program, because I want to feel like we can offer them a positive youth development experience, a positive educational experience, and I feel like I struggle sometimes both between myself and an administrative assistant of trying to do all that we need to do right now. The second piece of that is the volunteer base, and we have some incredible volunteers, some that have been around for a while, but when you have a lot of volunteers, that also takes time to work with them, because you can't just turn them loose and say, good luck, I hope it goes well for you. It takes time to coordinate with them, to provide them training, to provide them the ongoing support that they need to feel like they can be successful in making a difference. So as we've increased that volunteer base, we've also increased the number of committees that we have in the county to help support that. So that has continued to take more coordination. Our population growth has definitely created additional youth development needs in our community. and many that I feel like are being unmet just because we lack the time and ability to address them all. I think there's lots of opportunities out there that as an extension agent, I don't always have time to tackle them, and if we had a 4-H assistant that I think could maybe work on some of those things. There's also other needs in this community that could be addressed, and I think a lot of this is a little bit of a reflection on my time as an extension agent, and I spend probably more than half of my time currently working with the 4-H program, which I love. But when it comes to looking at other opportunities or adding other programs, if I want to add something new, I have to let something go. And to be honest, I don't know what I would want to let go, because we have a lot of good programs currently going on right now, programs that fill up. But I think there's lots of emerging issues in the county that could be addressed in a better way or a different way. Things like working in small acreage management again. It was an area that I used to work a lot in, and I've just kind of had to let that go. Working more with invasive species. I've worked also a lot in community and leadership development with the Big Sky Big Leadership Program. But I think there's tons of things that could be done more there in community development and vitality. Even agricultural topics such as drought resiliency, things like that. And so having an additional staff person in our office could give us more flexibility to address some of these emerging needs. Long term, just put this bug out here as well. You know, there's been some discussion about adding a second extension agent. While that's not an option at this time, I think in the future I still think that there is a need for that. And perhaps really looking into the future that, you know, maybe a 4-H assistant could grow into that when that opportunity allows itself. But ultimately, through hiring a 4-H assistant, my goal would be to strengthen our ability to deliver a high-quality youth development program in our community and address those emerging needs, both in youth development, but also maybe enhance our ability to address those needs both in agriculture, horticulture, and community vitality. So the solution, here we go. So kind of what I've been working with Commissioner Swinson and Bill Jarocki on, and it's maybe changed a little bit with some conversations with Commissioner Swinson in the last 24 hours, but originally proposing a 32-hour part-time position for 4-H assistant. We have had some discussion of could that be a full-time position. I think the work is there. I think absolutely, if that is something the commission would consider, I think the work is there, and I think we could keep that person busy. The other part of that, though, it's not just hiring a 4-H assistant. There's another piece of that, and I think that's important to also keep in mind, is that we are also proposing some adjustments to Jessica Erickson's role. Currently, again, she's working about 20 hours a week in extension, and this is an average over the year, 12 hours fair. And so it's about a 70-30 split. So we propose also moving that to a 50-50 split. So 50% extension, 50% fair. And what that would do, so kind of how that would all break down in roles and responsibilities is, so Jessica would kind of move towards focusing more on like the day-to-day operations of the office, kind of just keeping us in line, keeping us on track, doing the financials, the mailings, helping with my extension programs. There'll still be some 4-H stuff in there just because that's such a heavy part of what we do. And then the second part of that is, and I'm sure she'd speak to this if you'd like her to, would be a little more focus on cultivating the fairgrounds, the 4-H building, spending more time on fair, and so just giving her some flexibility to address those needs better as well. The 4-H assistant role, what I envision that looking like would be kind of a combination of a little bit of what Jessica and I both do. So we'd be taking some of those 4-H administrative tasks that Jessica's already doing, like 4-H awards, enrollment, some of the fair planning. A big role that I'd like to see that individual play is working directly with our volunteers to help give them better support, recruiting volunteers, helping retain them, promoting the program, lots of different things there. And then as well, some of those are things that I do as well. So just kind of helping enhance some of those things. And then as time allows, being able to take on new things, being able to look at different partnerships in the community, being able to look at some of these needs. We know we have a little bit of a retention issue in the program with some of our new families, so looking at some of that and how can we better retain that. And I think a lot of that comes down to communication and what we can do better for those new families. So things like that. I just ultimately hope it gives us a little more flexibility and to grow this and grow our programs. Maybe I'll stop talking and just open myself up to questions. I feel like I've been talking a lot. Maybe that was way too much information, but
Oh, that's good.
yeah. Oh, I do want to also mention, I guess, the last thing, and then I will really be quiet. The actual cost, I think, is also important to address. So the anticipated cost. So the way I currently have it in the proposed, it's a tentative budget. 32 hours plus a little extra because there's going to be weeks like fair, 4-H camp, that 32 hours is just not going to be feasible. So, but with that proposed increased cost would be about $40,000 to the extension budget. I did look this morning to see if we did a 40-hour-a-week position, what that cost would be, and we might be able to wiggle the wage a little bit with a full-time position. So anticipating at least another $7,500 on top of that. I do also want to note, because this is important as well, that increase also includes an increase in the extension contract for this year. The extension contract will go up by another $2,000 this next fiscal year. So that does include that increased cost. And that increased cost to the extension contract is related to increases that MSU has incurred in salary and benefits over the course. They've had some mandated legislative pay raises, and so just trying to help share and distribute the cost with the counties a little bit more efficiently is where that cost increase. So that's already been figured into that estimate. So now I'll be quiet, and we'll be happy to answer though any questions that you may have.
I have a couple just to get us started.
Yeah.
Startup cost, I see in the packet.
Yes.
$4,200 for the desk, computer, and all of that. Where are you going to put this person?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that, and Jessica and I have been kind of visioning, and Jessica's going to be obviously sharing that space a little more intimately than I will. But I think we have some ideas, and I guess my opinion on that is that I don't want the fact that we're cozy over here to be the barrier that would prevent having an additional person, because I think the value that we would get of having that is so much greater. The other thing I think that's also really important when we're talking about this position is this is not a Monday through Friday 8 to 5 type job. Will be expected that this person will be doing evening meetings and weekends, and so it's not like they're going to be in their close quarters, all day, every single day. This person is expected to get out and do the things and go to meetings and be a part of all those things. And unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, a lot of 4-H activities do happen on the evening and weekends because kids are in school, volunteers are working, and that's just the nature of the beast. Yeah.
Well, and keep in mind that space,
Mm-hmm.
you could get it set up for moving back and forth, but the laptop, it's not used. And we keep wondering how we can use that space right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know. It's a beautiful office.
I know.
And it's just hard, when we obviously,
I know.
have meetings. One thought I had was like maybe a doorway in the hall might be a little better solution. But even then, like if someone comes in,
I know.
how do you still have to either go all the way around or cut through the meeting. So it's still not ideal.
But if you can figure out a way to use it, you're more than welcome
Great.
to.
Okay. Yes.
Well,
Let's
and
see.
the meetings during the day, there's not that many daytime.
Yeah.
I mean, we have them for
Yeah.
sure, but to the point that it would be inconvenient for that person. And I like your idea with the doorway in the hall and then just, going around. It's annoying, but for a couple meetings here and there,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. I think.
it's a good space.
Other questions?
I appreciated how much effort you put into
Yeah.
this and putting this together. So thank you, because it answers questions.
And sometimes I get too detailed, so
No,
No,
it's
that- this is
if
good.
it's too much.
I guess looking at my notes, so are you proposing up to 40 hours? Is that what the job description will be, or?
I think if you as the commissioner are willing to consider that, I think there's the work. Originally, I'll just be honest, I originally proposed 32 because that does qualify them for benefits, and I think that will make this position more attractive to someone. it's not because there's not enough work for 40 hours, because there is, but just trying to create that balance of being aware that there are other county needs as well. I know I'm not the only one that has needs or wants, but there certainly is the work for that person to do 40 hours worth of time. And so Jesse, Commissioner Swanson emailed me yesterday afternoon about this idea. And I said, yeah, I think if you're willing to consider it, I'm more than open to that. But I think at a minimum for starting a new role, 32 hours. Yeah, if that answers your question.
Just for budget purposes, should plan on 40 if, at some point, if it gets to be that. And there's money in the budget for that.
Yeah, and I don't know how it works, like, if there could be flexibility in that, like, to tell someone like 32 to 40, because, certainly sometimes a year is definitely easy to get 40 or more. We do have a little bit slower time, or if that person needed or wanted some more flexibility. So I don't know, as far as budgetary or county, if that is even a doable thing to try for a year, or if we need to be a hard, like, it's either 32 or it's 40. I don't know how that works.
You're already doing, at 32, you're already qualifying for health insurance. So I don't know what that 32 to 40, I don't know how that would be worded. Debbie Kelly would know more about that, but
And West staff.
Yeah.
That's what Jesse and I are talking about.
Yeah.
I always ask that when somebody says somebody up to 32. We're already paying for the health insurance. So the extra 8 hours may not kill your budget. In some instances, it will.
Well, and like you were saying, I mean, I did the figure in this morning at, like, if we average around $20 an hour, it's about $7,000 a year. So the majority of the cost is already being paid for. So if it helps you out that much more for $7,000 more, it's worth it.
Yeah, I would take it and say thank you very much. Greatly appreciated.
Well, and it may depend on the candidate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They may not want 40 hours, they may want 32.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I was going to suggest a timeline, like let's go 6 months, see how it's working out with the possibility to move, plan for 40 if it's needed. But
Yeah, I think that
something to
makes sense
talk
too.
about.
And the goal, if this commission decides to move forward with this proposal, is to move fairly quickly and try to get someone hired by the end of June, because my understanding is that works a little bit better with the permissive mail levy. So that would be my goal, is to move fairly quickly. And then they can be here for fair too and be a part of our team for fair. And so I think that's pretty critical.
It seems like June's so far away,
It's
but
not.
it's not. I know. It's really sad.
Okay,
Any other questions?
I did not have any.
No, I just appreciate, we've been working on this for quite a while now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, I appreciate all the work you've done and all the information you got for us. So it's very, very helpful.
Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
Do we need to include, like, starting salary or starting hourly wage or anything in the motion, or can that be discussed?
I think that can be figured out with your budget.
Okay.
You gave us the range.
Yeah, and I have talked to Bill Jarocki.
Yeah.
I kind of pitched this to him a few weeks ago. So.
And work with Debbie Kelly and West Staff, our staffing agency.
So I would move to approve the request to create the part-time 4-H assistant position for 32 to 40 hours.
Really wouldn't be
With the
part-time
range.
then.
Sure.
Just up
Just
to
say
40.
Up to 40 hours, yeah.
Okay.
So approve the 4-H assistant position up to 40 hours.
Okay, I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the request for a 4-H assistant position up to 40 hours. Any comments, any questions? Any public comment?
Good morning. Dan Lucas, D-A-N-L-U-C-A-S. I'm the Western Region Department Head for MSU Extension. I guess first off, I would really like to express the appreciation from MSU for the partnership we share with county commissions across Montana, but in particular the Broadwater County Commission. It's a great partnership, and in my mind, one of the strengths that Montana State University has for Extension is the partnership we have with counties and the way we can work together to enhance the programs or optimize the programs that we have. And I know Allison shared with you the county highlights, and as she described, 4-H youth development is a big time commitment, but there are so many demands on time for extension agents across Montana, especially in the faster growing counties. Extension is one of those things, and I'm sure you're familiar, is good work is rewarded with more work. So the track record that Allison has put together and the excellence in the programs that she has is evident of the partnership and the value that we share together with the commission on how we develop programs for the citizens of Broadwater County. I think one of the things I think to consider with this position as well is oftentimes when workloads increase with expanding populations, there's two things that can happen by adding a little bit of capacity to the office. Is number one, you prevent burnout of the person that's in the position, because as demands increase without any added capacity, I know Allison is so dedicated to the citizens of Broadwater County where she talked about what programs do I drop? Well, she's not. And so you just have more and more demand on your time. And the only way that you address that is to kind of expand the program a little bit. And I think this is an excellent opportunity to do that. And I think the other part of that then was that expanded capacity, you maintain the high quality of work that's going out, and the benefits to the community are huge from extension. So I guess at the end, thank you very much for your support. Very, very much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. Jessica Erickson, Broadwater County Fair Manager and Extension Admin Assistant, as you guys have heard a few times here. I was just wanting to kind of give my input on what I have seen the last 6 years since I've been here. I started this position in June of 2020, 21? Fall of 2020, yes. So, you know, and everyone's talking about, well, Allison hit a lot, I guess, on the 4-H growth. But what she didn't really hit on was that there's also growth in extension. And so it's great to get this new position and let you guys know what this new position is going to help with. But on the backside of that, it's going to help her with a lot of different things extension-wise. I can attest to the fact that with all the new people coming in, we have a lot more people walking in the office going, oh, we just moved here. We just built a house. We just have dirt. What do we do now? What grows here? You know, they want to know, and they a lot of people, even longtime residents, my trees are dying. Why are they dying? Well, they don't understand that they actually need to water them. And just, you know, little things like that. Like our city tree board, very, very active, right? Which is great for them. But he also finds all these new diseases and pests, and he tells people, go see Allison at the extension office and she'll tell you what it is. And so then what we get to do is we get to, if she doesn't know what it is, we package it up and we're sending it to MSU. So the amount of samples we've been sending into the lab at MSU have increased dramatically over the last probably 2 to 3 years. Soil samples as well, people are understanding and figuring out that we're processed soil samples, and she lets them know what to do with them. Site visits, a lot of small acreage farmers who want to sell hay that's been weed tested, you know, and so like there's in the summertime, on top of everything in the summertime, we have farmers that are calling and they're like, hey, we want to cut tomorrow. Can she come and look at my field tomorrow morning? And it's there's so much other things that go into this besides the 4-H aspect and even the fair part of it. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that, and then also ask if you guys had any questions about increasing the fair portion of our budgets for increasing my hours to fair go in 2020.
Oh, the 50-50 split.
Yeah, because there will be a difference in my fair budget, but it's not much, and we have spoken with Bill Drucke on what that looks like, but I just want to make sure that you guys didn't have any questions on that.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
It's needed.
as they've been getting busier, I mean, you're not slowing down at the fair either.
No.
So I mean, I think you had like 1 or 2 weekends open. Is it for the rest of
Yes, yes, okay, so that is, like she said, when I first started, we had some very, very active board members that did above and beyond their volunteer duties. And so once they have left, I have had to take over, or I guess retake over those duties that the employed person that represents that board should probably do. And yeah, the 4-H building is, it pretty much is rented, like, I think there's 2 weekends this whole summer, May through August, that it is not rented. And so just the portion, you know, contracts and liability insurance and dropping in picking up keys and going out there and showing them the building, because there's a lot of new people that have never been in the building before. They've just heard about it, and so they don't even know what it looks like or anything like that. And then going through and cleaning and returning deposits and all that part of it has just increased quite a bit. So,
I don't have any questions.
Thank you very much.
all right.
I think you guys do an amazing job.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Any other public comments or questions online? Oh, I kind of was wait.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, my name is John Ferret, that's F-E-R-R-A-T. I don't feel like I need to say much. I've stood before you before and pleaded my case for this as well. While it is a bummer that we don't have the opportunity to have another full-time agent at this point, I believe we have the work for 3 full-time agents in this county, and I will continue to work for that in the future if need be. I believe this is a step forward in expanding our programs. Everything that's already been said today, I would just reiterate. I fear burnout. I fear lack of volunteerism. I sing the praises of Allison and the Extension Office every time I get a chance. I am a 10-year 4-H parent, and I believe a 16-year certified volunteer, as well as I own and operate my family's more than century-old ranch. With all of those things, we have depended on MSU Extension here in the county countless times. It's very important that it stays in this county and expands to meet the needs of our growing county. The community would be very different without it. We've heard about change in our community today. This is something I stand for greatly. I wave the 4-H flag quite proudly. So I just encourage you to continue with this position, and if you have any questions, I would answer them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Any other public comment or questions?
Hello, I'm Shauna McCauley, S-H-A-W-N-A, and little c, big C, A-U-L-E-Y. Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity today. I stand here in support of this new position. As you've heard, Allison does amazing things, but also in a world where youth are inundated with technology and screens, and which has led to more loneliness than ever. 4-H provides an opportunity for kids to not only learn by doing, but also interact with their community and be a part of something. So Broadwater County's 4-H program is not only active, but also thriving and growing, and it's thanks to these guys over here. It's not possible without the amazing work of Allison and Jessica in the Extension Office. Like they've said, Allison's responsibilities go well above and beyond the 4-H, and we have also used all of her resources, but from gardening to soil samples to figuring out what my invasive weed is on my place, the well water, all the things. She does it all, and she can't do it all forever. So the split responsibilities require Allison relies heavily on volunteers, and as we heard, the Fair Board volunteers went above and beyond and retired, and I fear that the 4-H volunteers also go above and beyond and are retiring, so that change is coming to the 4-H side of the fair as well. So, so in order to keep these things growing and thriving in this community, they deserve Allison, Jessica, and the 4-H community deserves a consistent paid position to support these things. I believe that the support of this new position would show your dedication to the youth of our community to keep it thriving for years to come and just keep people knowledgeable and coming back. So thank you for your consideration of this matter, and I would encourage you to vote in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and Commissioners. Jason Noyes, Jasonnoyes. Stand here as both a farmer for almost 30 years in the county and going on 18 years being involved with the 4-H program and being one of those volunteers for most of that. I don't want to try to convince you about something that sounds like you're already in favor of, but I would like to put in the plug that I think this county, can and should justify the second extension agent and the amount of time that goes into both of those programs. I happen to be one of those volunteers that is approaching that retirement phase, and the work that the volunteers do year in, year out, yes, it's, the leadership Allison puts in and the coordination, but as that ebb and flow of volunteers comes, we need to have solid leadership at the top and people that have time. The one thing that Allison didn't add in her part is also that she is a mother, and she has kids that are now coming into that 4-H program. She needs to be able to spend time with her kids and be a part of that process in her own family. And that's something that will be very difficult for her to do with the responsibilities and the amount of time that she puts in to all of the other 4-H kids now. To talk about numbers, really quickly, the economics of all of this is very important. And I understand, even though on a smaller scale, the importance of trying to manage, taxpayer money and setting budgets and how do we utilize that responsibly. When you look at what we do on a Saturday afternoon in August, where the 4-H livestock sale alone generates close to $300,000 in a matter of 2 hours. Those are businesses from around our community and around our area that come and contribute to that 4-H program. They do that as a thank you to those kids and a thank you to those families for all of the money that they have contributed to the county and surrounding business. It's all one big circle. The more we put into these programs, the more these businesses continue to grow and expand in our county. So the money is important to you, the money is important to everybody. But this program has proven that it has the support of the community, it has the support of businesses, and I think it's important that we provide as much access to what Extension and 4-H has to offer. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your support of the 4-H program both today and in the past.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Anything online?
I have an email that was sent to us from Jeff Kirksey that he would like to be read in. Dear Commissioners, I am writing today to encourage you to support the proposal to hire a 4-H assistant. 4-H has been a keystone in Broadwater County youth development for decades. While other programs have come and gone, 4-H has remained an accessible youth development program available to all youth, both rural and suburban. In recent years, our 4-H program has seen considerable growth, pushing existing clubs to expand to new clubs to start. We have also relaunched the 4-H Ambassador Program, giving Broadwater County teens another significant venue to hone and develop critical leadership skills. Now is an ideal time for the county to invest in the 4-H assistant role to provide dedicated support to our county's keystone youth development program. This investment will help create a positive and sustainable model for continued growth, outreach, and community impact. Thank you for your support of this proposal. Jeff Kirksey.
Thank you.
And that's Kirksey. Then Jeff with a J.
We've heard a lot of public comment, and we have a motion and a second to approve the 4-H assistant position up to 40 hours. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've told Allison this a lot. When I went to college, which was 100 years ago at Oregon State, I wanted to be the first female extension agent. And oftentimes when I'm around her, I regret that I didn't finish through with that.
What are you saying? They have a job opening now.
We might be talking, I don't know.
Shush, all of you. Oh,
Thank you all very much. And thank you for the support.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, critical support. Thank you, everyone.
Of course.
Next item on the agenda. Angie Paulson, she's already ready to go. Commissioners declare a 10-day period for individuals to file declarations for nominations or statement of candidacy and nominating petitions for the office of County Treasurer and Superintendent of Schools.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, my name is Angie Paulson, Paulsen, Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder. Today, I am bringing before you, so on April 27th, 2026, Michelle Beebe withdrew her candidacy for County Treasurer and Superintendent of Schools. And upon legal research, it's not often that this happens, that a candidate withdraws. However, there is one other county in the state that this has happened to as well. Pursuant to Montana Code Annotated 13-14-118, the commissioners, or the governing body, which is you, would need to declare a 10-day period for an individual or individuals to file declarations for nominations or statements of candidacy and nominating petitions for the office of County Treasurer and Superintendent of Schools. The 10-day period can be any time. However, I request as your election administrator to do it sooner rather than later, so that I have time to certify the ballot for the general election in the event somebody does file. That date is August, let's see here, 20th, I believe. I need to get that exact date for you, but the other thing to consider in when you're selecting a date, the 10-day period, is that I will need to do publications within the, however I'm just going to do it how I would normally do for any legal notice for an election. I do 3 to 4 weeks worth, so I would ask that this doesn't open next week, but that we have some time for me to do publications in the newspaper like I would normally for an election. And that's what I have for you. I also handed out to you a notice of nomination declaration if you decide to select a date. I would do this notice to the public, and this is what it would look like if I put it in the newspaper. And it also includes a filing fee of $355.39, check or cash, to the Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder. That's all I have for you. Any questions, Madam Chair, Commissioners?
No, and I just want to emphasize that this is pursuant to MCA.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a unique situation, but it does happen.
Yeah. Yes.
Where will you be posted? I know you'll put it in MT43 News. Will you also reach out to Three Forks paper?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm open to any suggestions. I usually, BCDC is another area that I will post these types of notices. I'll put it the county courthouse bulletin board. I'll put it on my website, and this type of notice we usually put on the main website for the notice section for Broadwater County. And I work with Ken on that usually.
I didn't think of this until right now. Been a little busy lately. What if more than one person enters this?
Yeah, it's open to candidates.
Yeah, so it's open to multiple.
That's right.
So that means on the November election, there could be 4 or 5 candidates.
That is correct.
Okay. Versus the normal 2.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yes.
just didn't think that through.
Well, I don't think very many people that have faced this. It happens to be that we're a nonpartisan county, and it's just statute.
Because if we were if it was partisan,
Right.
that central committee would appoint someone.
Correct.
right?
It would be a different route. That is absolutely correct. And so it's just the form of government that was here before any one of us were involved in this. And so, it's put in statute as well. So if we did not go this route, then we would not be following the law. So we need to follow the law that's in place, and that's where this MCA code comes in. So yes, you're right, Madam Chair. If there's more than one person that files, we could have as many candidates on that ballot as files.
And if nobody extra files, Leona Nelson will be on the November ballot anyhow.
That's correct. She would be appointed by acclamation.
Right.
She's the only candidate for that position in November, since she is the other candidate that filed in the Treasurer County candidacy. So, yeah, if nobody files in that 10-day period that you guys set, then, yeah, it would be like any other candidate that is the only person going to be on that November ballot. They would then be appointed by acclamation come time at January 2027. So, yeah.
Any questions for?
No, I don't have any. No.
Is there a motion?
Let's see.
I think think you need to decide a date, Madam Chair, that you,
The 1st through 10th is what you suggested on here?
yeah, that was a sample, if that's what you wanted,
is
if you
that
think
what-
that works for you.
Yeah, I mean, is that what
Okay.
works for you, because you're working
Yes.
on the other elections and your timeline, so if June 1st through 10th works, that would kind of.
You bet,
That's
yeah.
what we talked about.
The sooner the better,
It gives
yeah.
notice, enough time to get notices out.
That's right. That gives me enough time, 3 to 4 weeks worth of notices, and then soon enough, if somebody does file within that timeline, I can certify the ballot for the November election.
Perfect.
So June 1 through 10. And I do believe, Madam Chair, that Commissioner Rickmeyer asked me last time about weekends, or maybe it was, somebody asked me
Yeah,
about
it was-
if the
it was
weekend is included.
Working days.
Correct.
Or
Yeah.
just 10 days. Okay.
Just 10 days,
yeah.
including weekend, so.
And the 10th is a Wednesday, so it wouldn't end on a weekend, which is beneficial for
Right.
you.
Yeah, it would be the 10th by 5 PM on that day would be the final date that somebody could write a check to Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder in the filing fee of $355.39, check or cash.
Is there a motion?
I move to declare the 10-day period from June 1st to June 10th as the time for individuals to file declarations of nomination for county treasurer and superintendent of schools.
I will second that.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any public comment?
No.
Any questions? Any public comment? So there's a motion and a second to, I did not get exactly how you phrased that, so Angie's going to help me again. I apologize. The declaration, statement of candidacy and nominating petitions for the county, for the office of county treasurer and superintendent of schools will be posted, and those dates are June 1st through the June 10th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Jessica Bushnell.
So Jessica Bushnell, Bushnell, Noxious Weed and Mosquito Coordinator. I am just notifying you that the Weed Board is going to have a public hearing May 19th at 7:05 to discuss amending the county noxious weed list. So we are looking to add Palmer, Amaranth, and water hemp to our county noxious weed list. These are two new invaders to Montana that are particularly found in contaminated seed. So the board had a discussion and they would like to have those included on our county list so that if they are discovered, they can be tackled with an EVRR type strategy. So if anybody has comment, we are taking them at that meeting, or you can submit them to the county at 515 Broadway.
What's the date of the hearing again?
May 19th.
Okay, thank you.
And that's at the Weed Board meeting.
At the Weed Board
Which
meeting.
is at 7 o'clock. at night.
Yep. So we will open
This
the
was
meeting up.
this was new for me, so this took a lot of
Yep.
coordinating, how do we do this, and which board needs to do this. There's a lot of emails.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you, Jessica.
Yeah. So if there's any comments, the Weed Board will hear them at that meeting, or we'll take those in writing, and then after that hearing, we will move forward with the resolution process.
Awesome.
Perfect.
And if anybody has questions, they can
Yep.
contact you.
Perfect.
But we just wanted to bring it to attention
Yep.
now.
I have a question, sorry.
No.
Because I have to have a question.
No questions.
How do you guys decide that, hey, is it just you see an increase in that?
So it's
weed here,
plants
or-
that are, pose an economic or threat to livestock, or seed producers or hay producers, things that are particularly important to the residents of Broadwater County.
Okay.
So, yeah, some of them have been asked by seed producers, some of them have been asked by agency partners to consider. And mainly this is to allow us more tools for control.
If anybody's interested, the Weed Board meetings are always posted on the calendar on the website.
Yep.
It's a very good working board.
Yep, the board is excellent.
They do their research, they do their homework, they know
Yep.
what they're
We
talking about.
have been very lucky
Have been-
in the history to have a really well-working
Yeah.
weed board. It's been really great.
So we just wanted it on the agenda for discussion and as much awareness as possible.
Yep.
So I don't have any questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Next item on the agenda, Nicole Brown, Community Development and Planning Director. Changes to the family transfer affidavit from Attorney General's office.
Good morning. It's still morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner, here today to discuss changes to the Attorney General's family transfer affidavit. I've spoken with each of you individually about this change, but this really is the only forum for you to communicate together effectively, and for staff, myself, to communicate with you these changes to the Attorney General's office family transfer affidavit. So previously, this affidavit had 15 items on it. If an individual were going to request a family transfer exemption from Broadwater County, they would attest to these 15 items. That list has been whittled down now to 6. This has, again, not been done just in Broadwater County. This is coming from the Attorney General's office. The county has zero participation in this other than we are required to utilize this affidavit. So this is not the exemption form itself. So really today I'm just here to open up the discussion on whether or not you want me to pursue making amendments to our exemption claim application, or if you want everything to stay as is. You commissioners did a tremendous amount of work and took a tremendous amount of public comment in the entire exemption claim application, subdivision exemption claim application, excuse me, over the course of the last few months. And unfortunately, this change came from the Attorney General's office, I want to say a week after you made the motion to adopt the subdivision exemption claim application. So again, this is me, I don't have a solution for you. This is opening it up to you as commissioners to be able to communicate about this if you would like me to do any additional work on the subdivision exemption application. But I have no solution presentation. I have nothing prepared to suggest to you at this time because I've done zero work on it other than to notice the amendments. So,
well, it's strictly a discussion today.
Strictly discussion.
Yeah.
Who wants to kick this off?
You're looking at me again.
No, I'm just looking that way. You just happen to.
Just looking this way. Okay. So it's funny. Well, it's interesting that this came out, again, the timing of this after we were in all these discussions. I think the stuff that they took off was okay to take off. I have a copy of the old one and new one. What it tells me, what they took off, and then the thing that they added, which is new, is they're stating MCA, which was not on the previous one. And in that, it says additional applicant statements may need to be added to address evasion criteria developed by a governing body pursuant to section 76-3-504 1P in MCA. So when I read that, I saw that plus the decrease in the items on the affidavit. That said to me that there is basically an expectation or an understanding, or they would be surprised maybe if we did not have evasion criteria or wouldn't be asking for more information with these. And I know we've gone around and round, and I know we all have our different thoughts on this, and that's fine. I think we should just talk about it. But to me, one of the questions was always, as we address these exemptions, was, well, the state says this, we can't deny it for this reason, we can't deny it for that reason, the state has the ultimate say. So I think that now it's a little more clear that the state is giving us some freedom to have some criteria on our end. It implies that there's an expectation, and I think the easiest route for us is to include the questions and the information we would like on that application. And I know Commissioner Swenson worked really hard on making that application a little more streamlined and succinct, and I greatly appreciate that. Since I have been here, we've gone from like deep diving into these to a level of complication I don't believe was always necessary. To like, we want to be as hands-off as possible. The state has some guidelines. We can't really review these. It's hard to get these denied. Oh, that's fine. Sorry, Ed. And so I look at this as maybe an opportunity to reconsider a little bit of what the information, what questions we are asking on that application. I see that as probably being the easiest way, short of putting it in regs. And my thought process that it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask for that information up front and include it, then we have it, and we're not trying to track people down. I knew we'd had some discussion like, well, if we want to know that, we can ask the person for that information. It's much easier, and then it's also easier to review for the COS committee if we just have the same standardized information included each time. In addition, you have a checklist. I would see a checklist for the COS committee to make sure they're at least looking into certain things, and I won't go into that now, but MCA, it looks like they're being vague for a purpose, which kind of puts that on the county as being the ones to do what we need to do for our own county. And after I started thinking about this more, I think the subdivision exemption is a privilege. It is a privilege. You are getting to go through a process that allows you to forego a lot of review, cost, road upgrades, all of it. It's a privilege. So why does the county feel bad asking for a little more information on something that is a privilege? You could go to the argument of like having your ID to vote, right? In whatever state requires that or doesn't require it. It's a privilege that we have. The exemption process saves applicants money in review. And so I don't really see this, the more I thought about it, I don't see this as an inconvenience or a burden for the applicant. I think we were kind of questioning the marriage certificate, birth certificates, but ultimately, how do we know? Second, we only have so much ground in this county, and at some level, it's okay to take care of what we have. Again, I don't think this should be burdensome if an applicant is being truthful and coming in for this. This isn't a burden on someone to provide a few documents or answer a few extra questions on an application. That gives us information to basically say we're doing a due diligence and we care. You get to skip all the major review, but we care about our resources here. We care about what's happening. And again, that gives us a due diligence paper trail if we should arrive at a denial for some reason. So I think, the state doesn't necessarily know what we need in our county, and it seems like with this affidavit, again, the decrease in items on the affidavit and the addition of the MCA seems to clarify that there's an expectation of local government to have something. I don't know that we need evasion criteria, but I think we can go a little deeper on our application. I don't think it would hurt. Sorry, that was a lot more than I was going to. That's what you got for letting me start it off, Debbie.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'm so torn on this. I've changed my mind every time I've opened my file on it. I agree with very much what Commissioner Rickner said. Jesse, what are your thoughts? I'm just
kind of processing what was said. I disagree with a lot. they're property rights, they're not property privileges. And in my opinion, the Attorney General took them off for a reason. They wouldn't have taken, I mean, obviously to me, there had to have been a lot of pushback from somebody. And I know before, when we had talked with Kevin Bratcher, County Attorney, prior to all of this, it was Nicole and I talked to him. There were a number of them on there that if you had, like, it was like something to the effect, I don't have it all with me, but like I certify I've never given a family transfer before or something like that, you know. And so if you had done that and you couldn't sign the document, so you kind of, it kind of limited people, I mean, which goes against MCA, because I mean, just because I give to my daughter doesn't mean I can't give to my son, type of a situation. So there was I had a lot of issues with the original affidavit anyways, but we didn't have a choice because they were from the Attorney General. Right. The fact that the AG went and edited their own document to remove them, to me, speaks to the validity of what they were asking. I think they did it without having a lot of input, and then I'm guessing they released it and got a lot of input and realized they needed to come off for a reason. That's weird.
We're not taking calls right now. Sorry.
I feel that the application, the form, whatever you want to call it, the way it is, covers what we legally should be reviewing it for, I guess is how I want to say it. I'd be hard pressed like denying it for, I mean, because that's what, if you put it on the application that you are setting up your evasion criteria. That's the, otherwise why ask for it? So if I don't see the point. I mean, I'm not saying that some information isn't good, and I think a lot of the information that we are gathering on the application answers a lot of the questions. The review committee does have a checklist of items of what we're reviewing. It's a new process. There's going to be kinks with it, and I mean, as there always is. But I don't know. I think going forward, I think it's a good process. I think we ask the valid questions that need to be answered without overstepping. I'll leave it at that.
And I'm somewhere in the middle, because some of these questions that we've asked before, I'm going way back, were too personal.
Agreed.
And that made me very uncomfortable years ago, and it meant nothing to the whole process. I feel much more comfortable that the fine is now $10,000 instead of $1,000. Is that what it used to be? $1,000. Okay. Yeah. So there's more penalty if somebody is not truthful. One of them, and I don't have it in front of me, but it asks if something to the effect of, have you talked to a real estate agent? What does that matter? You know, they may have talked to a real estate agent about the land or selling it and just trying to learn what the price could be or whatever variety of things. That's not a reason, in my mind, to deny it. Right. I would like to do more research on it and see what other counties, I know I say this a lot, but I can't stand reinventing the wheel. Not that they're different, I get it. But it might give us more insight of what at least their legal team and their commissioners are thinking. We're nothing like Missoula, we're nothing like Bozeman. And we tend to look at other counties that are close to us, similar in size, tax base, all of that. We have our list that we compare. But we might gain something from looking at a Missoula County or a Bozeman. And this is on agenda today just for discussion. I don't mean just for discussion, but discussion only. And I think the more discussion is the better, because Commissioner Swenson brought up good points, so did Commissioner Reckmeyer. This is not an easy process, and it's never going to be one that satisfies everybody. But it's a very important process. What do you guys think? Would you want to discuss it again next week or in 2 weeks, or?
I'm fine with either.
Not 2 weeks.
Not 2 weeks.
Not 2 weeks.
I won't be here in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, not 2 weeks.
Well, then we'll discuss it in 2 weeks.
I would add to Commissioner Swenson's point. I mean, he's saying property rights, yes. There's property rights, but the exemption is not a right. It is a process that is a privilege that allows you to bypass review for a subdivision. And that is a privilege. It is not a right. It's not an unalienable right given to you that can be taken away by the legislature at any time. So it's a privilege. I don't believe that it hurts to ask. I'm not saying we need to go back to the previous application. I just think it doesn't hurt to ask for a little bit more info than you have it. I don't believe that because you ask for information on an application, that equates to denial. It's just information gathering, and that is okay. We can information gather. We have that right as the local government to do that, and I think there's a responsibility in there as well to ask for some things. I agree again. I don't think we need to go back to the old application, and I don't think we need to go back even further to some of the questions that were just highly invasive. And the COS committee, yep, there's an internal list, but that is great, and that's good. And we want to move that forward and keep that culture of checking that, but that's only as good until the first person who doesn't follow it or forgets about it or it goes by the wayside. Our county enforcement is limited. I know Nicole looks at different properties that are for sale and kind of canvasses that, but we're not in the business of enforcement, so that's tricky. Nor do we want to be. We don't need to be out there looking around trying to, that person, it's been, 1 year and 6 months, they're trying to sell their property too soon. I mean, we don't have the capacity or desire to do that.
We do track that.
So a little bit. She looks for stuff, but we're not. At the same time, again, what is the hurt? You are getting to utilize a privilege, something that is, again, saving you time, money, effort. Why is it hard to provide a couple, answer a few more questions? It shouldn't be. Again, not going back to the full previous application, but there are some things we could add in. And again, the application information doesn't necessarily equal denial, but it gives us a thorough paper trail if there were a denial for any reason. We've denied, I think, I personally, since I have been a commissioner, denied maybe 2. I think that's it. So we work very hard to get a yes, but we also have the responsibility, I believe, to look into the details.
I'm going to comment on that a little bit. I'm not sure saying that we work hard to get a yes is correct. We look at the information.
Well, we try not to treat people like they're guilty or doing something wrong, is what I should have said. Sorry.
Yeah. We just impartially look at the information provided to us and look at it and determine yes or no. We don't go out of our way to say no or yes.
Correct.
So what dates are you guys, when are you gone, Jesse?
Just the 20th.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Can I make a request? I will be out of the office the next 4 working days. Can I request that this not be on next week's agenda because I will have only this afternoon to perform research and I have other duties to attend to.
Yes.
So if we could make it the 27th.
Why don't we push it to June? Because 27th I've got a thing. Okay. It's got to be a short meeting.
We all have a thing.
Everybody's got a thing.
Sorry.
But we could do it on the 3rd of June?
June 3rd. Let's put it on there for discussion decision. We will take public comment at that time. We will, that gives us plenty of time to do research.
That's fine.
Thank you.
To clarify too, we will need, if there were a family transfer or a subdivision exemption request, they would use the current application and they would use the new Attorney General affidavit, right?
That is correct.
What we are using, correct.
That is correct.
Right. Okay, June 3rd.
And Commissioners, can I just ask one clarifying question? You're not anticipating or expecting me to have an item to present to you as my proposal, right? This is simply, we're going to take a few weeks to do research on what other counties are doing and share that information, because I'm not hearing any tasks coming out of this. I just want to be sure that I'm meeting your expectations for June 3rd.
Yes,
Okay.
but I would like you to also do some research with us.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I will perform research.
I'm
but I
not
will
giving you a
have
free
nothing.
pass.
Participate
Yeah,
in the
just show
research.
up. No, please.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. As far as you're not anticipating me handing you an item prior to June 3rd saying, this is my recommendation, because I don't feel that that would
No.
be appropriate.
I'm not, no.
Okay, good.
We all need to
I
do
just-
our research.
Perfect.
But give us some background information.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, and I think too, obviously if we meet with you individually and discuss certain things.
Yeah, we're going to be
then we
meeting
can
with
go
you.
through-
Yeah,
So
I know that.
It's going to happen.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Okay.
perfect.
Next item on the agenda.
All right,
Nicole Brown.
Commissioners, thank you. This was an oversight on my part, the supplements. So we have the Broadwater County subdivision regulations. We have the supplements to the subdivision regulations, which are identified as Appendix C. And I had some proposed amendments in that entire subdivision regulation amendment packet that you received all the way back in November of 2025 that you subsequently approved a few weeks ago. The motion that was made was for the subdivision regulations, so I feel fairly confident that these supplements could have been a part of that motion. Fairly confident, not extremely confident. That's why I'm here before you today to re-present to you the amendments to the supplements known as Appendix C of the Broadwater County subdivision regulations, specifically Supplement 4, Supplement 5, and Supplement 7. So if I may just continue on here, and I will note those changes to the supplements. And when I say changes, again, these are amendments that were presented maybe in January. I know some of them in November, but also maybe in January, coming out of the MACO model regs that were presented. MACO being Montana Association of Counties. All right, so Supplement 4. The proposed amendment was to item number 15. So this is on the second page of that packet that I gave you earlier today. Notably page 11 of the supplements, item number 15, existing and proposed property owners association documents, including draft articles of incorporation, declaration, and bylaws. And I should say that Supplement 4 is the subdivision preliminary plat application form and element checklist. So it was simply modifying this checklist, if you will, so not so much the application, but the checklist to mirror the checklist that's included in the Broadwater County subdivision regulations. Because obviously, if we are creating checklists, they should be uniform throughout the document. And then moving on to page 12 of Supplement 4, that's removing that, removing item number 31, but that item obviously was moved to number 15. And then the other item that was added, this was a legislative change, and I'll just read it into the record because I think it's important. Item number 34, this is an item required for preliminary plat approval. Proof that each lot has either a water right under Title 85, Chapter 2, a completed technical analysis for a permit, or a change application under Title 85, Chapter 2, or a notice of intent to appropriate groundwater authorized by the Department of Natural Resources and Conservation pursuant to 85-2306. So this was a legislative change, so that's actually required to be in the checklist. So those were the changes noted. Also, I do want you to know I did make an amendment to this checklist in moving items 34 and 35 to change up the order. Previously, that letter requesting agricultural covenants was in here as item number 35, and that, again, is to reflect the amendment to the subdivision regulations, so to keep water together, if you will. So that was just an order, like, change up on my part that I made to match the regulations. So that's supplement 4. Do you want to talk about each one individually, or do you want me to keep going and talk about them at the end? Because they are all the supplements.
What's your desire? Does it matter?
Whatever is easy, whatever you think is easiest.
Okay, because you really can't amend them or accept them individually because they're all part of the supplement packet. I'm just going to keep going. I think that's a better way to proceed.
That's fine.
Okay, supplement 5. Again, this is the subdivision application and preliminary plat application submittal requirements. So again, just another checklist, very similar to supplement 4. This supplement breaks down each individual item a little more thoroughly. So whereas supplement 4 is a true checklist, supplement 5 goes into a bit more detail in some of the items of what's actually required. So my amendment was to item number 15. So that's on page 16 of this document.
I'm sorry, which number on the list?
Number 15 on the checklist.
There we go. Thank you.
And that's simply moving it out of the order that it previously was identified as item number 31. And I moved it from 31 to 15 just to match every other checklist. And then the addition of item number 34. Again, this is related to the notice of intent to appropriate from DNRC. So this supplement, they really do need to be amended to match the subdivision regulations. So. And then moving on to the final supplement with amendments. This is supplement 7. This is the environmental assessment. This is the bigger one. These previously, the reason that the MACO model regulations included these red letters in the EA as proposed amendments were because of the Upper Missouri Waterkeepers v. Horse Creek Hills in Broadwater County and DNRC lawsuit. So these are the proposed amendments that came from that lawsuit that were added to the EA. Previously, these were noted as MACO best practice tips prior to these model regulations. And we did note that change in our subdivision regulations quite some time ago when, because that lawsuit was in February of 2024. So we did make that statement in our environmental assessment criteria to include the words MACO best practice tips. Now, everything in red that you see on this document is to be added, or I believe should be added to the EA. Wow, twice in one day. They're probably calling about the renewal on your car insurance, I'm sure of it.
Or as the guy at the Digital Summit said yesterday, it's the king of Nigeria requesting some money for immediate assistance.
Nobody will take his call.
Yeah, no one will take his call. All right.
Anyway, I certainly can go through these individually, but they are posted online and you have them in front of you. So I think now it's mostly prudent just for you to discuss how you feel about these amendments.
And I apologize, I missed that last week or whatever that was. I thought the motion was clear, and
I missed it as well, Madam Chair, so don't apologize for that. Commissioner Swenson and I spoke about it afterwards, that my agenda item request likely should have included regulations and supplements, and that's, anyway, no harm, no foul. We're here today, we're able to talk about it.
Are there questions or comments?
My question comes on supplement 7 with the environmental assessment. I know we've talked about this in the past, but where it says on section 1, section 1, A and B, so any natural water systems capable of being documented, such as streams, rivers, intermittent streaks, lakes, marshes, blah, blah, blah. It said, but it said, so we're changing it to a complete and sufficient application shall include information for all natural water systems on the aquifer upon which the project is located. And then the second one, B, would be changing it to all artificial. I'm trying to figure out what that means. and like doing research, it's very difficult to find the boundary of an aquifer. I have a few maps that I found that show kind of the systems of aquifers, but it doesn't like break it down to like which one. So like if
Aquifers or aqueducts?
Aquifer, a complete and sufficient application shall include information for all artificial water systems on the aquifer upon which the project is located.
Okay.
I mean, so if you're doing a subdivision down by Wheatland, you're gonna, you potentially could have to list every body of water all the way around the lake. I mean, according to this map, which I don't know, like I said, they're kind of systems, but it's hard to define which one. I finally kind of tried to do research and used AI to help, and it explained how they're very hard to define because it's all hydrologic studies for it. So to me, requiring something that is going to be difficult to ask, I'd rather see like, so MCA, let me go there first. 763603 A1, so it's for majors only, and this is the contents of environmental assessment. A description of every body or stream of surface water that may be affected by the proposed subdivision, together with available groundwater information. To me, that makes more sense, and it's hard to say what's going to be, what may be affected. I understand that too. So to me, I'd rather see like whether it's within 1,000 feet of the project or a half mile of the project or mile, whatever the distance is. But to me, that is something that is clearly definable of saying, okay, you need to establish what bodies of water are within this area.
Well, I mean, the whole state isn't almost all the state in the same aquifer? No. It's not, I'm thinking basin. Sorry, I'm thinking basin. Yeah.
Can you read that MCA again?
A description of every body or stream of surface water that may be affected by the proposed subdivision, together with available groundwater information, and a description of the topography, vegetation, and wildlife use.
And it's 76.3?
76.3603 A1, A little I.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Nicole. Is that, this is from MACO, you said, this exact language?
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like we discussed this before, and we had a question about that. Is there any way to, I mean, I know it's from MACO, it's not like you have to verify it, but I would agree that it seems like a
stretch.
A big ask to do.
Big ask.
Yeah. And I was thinking basins, not aquifers, but.
And like on that map, and we can't see it, public and view can't see it, but there's like yellow and orange. So if you happen to be
like
on the border of it,
here.
if you split it, would you have
Right.
to list every body of water within each one? Which, I mean, it covers a good chunk of the west side of the Montana.
Yeah. But this is also just recommended from MACO.
Right.
It's not yet the MCA that you just read.
Yeah.
Can you read that again? Sorry, one more time.
A description of every body or stream of surface water that may be affected by the proposed subdivision, together with available groundwater information. Well,
That's very different.
So
very different.
Can we technically be more strict? Like, can we be for requirements on environmental assessment? Can we be stricter than this? What the state requires? What's the thought there? Because that's pretty. It's pretty specific.
Yeah.
This is a huge burden. I mean, and then I would go as far to say, like, what are we doing with that list? Right? Like, now we have this list. I feel like the best thing you could do is compile a list for the whole state to use so everyone can just know what's there. Because what do you do with the list? Well, cool, thanks for doing the work. Again, we're not the water experts. We can't really be like, well, that canal on that aquifer, I mean.
That's, yeah.
I don't even know that we, like, it's information, again, gathering information, but what is actionable for what purpose? To this level of detail would be my only question.
I personally, I like Commissioner Swenson's idea or recommendation of, within a half mile, within a mile even. That wouldn't be terribly difficult to determine. I say that standing here, not submitting a subdivision application. So
Right.
take that as you will. But I don't believe it would be terribly difficult to say, okay, here's my project, and draw a 1 mile radius around it and include information on the water system. You're just including information on that water system. It's not asking you to, what is the flow rate or.
Just list
But at least you would know the boundaries of your search area.
Correct.
And that's what the AI search, like depending on what source you use, the aquifers are different shapes, different sizes. It's just, I think it's a tall ask.
Well, and it comes back
And-
to our previous conversation. If we don't know what we're asking for, if we can't answer that question and say, well, what do you want? I don't really know. Then it's very irresponsible to be asking the question, I feel like.
I like the way MCA has it
I do
stated.
too.
I think that's better to, I could wrap my mind around that.
So, and just MCA does, so there's one of them, it's 76.3.511, so local regulations no more stringent than state regulations or guidelines. But it's specific to certain sections, which it does not include the section I read, the 76.3.603. It includes 76.3.501 or 504 1G3, which are local subdivision regulations. So 76.3.501, local subdivision regulations, the governing body of every county, city, or town shall adopt and provide the enforcement of and administration of subdivision regulations reasonably providing for, and it lists a bunch of things, and one of them is the provision of adequate transportation to water and drainage. So that, yeah. But the rest of them, are roads and utility easements, improvements, and those types of things. So, yes and no to your earlier question. I mean, sometimes it does say we can't be more stringent, but it doesn't necessarily specify this environmental assessment section of MCA. But it kind of touches on it when it says water.
It's the 1A, any natural water systems capable of being documented, right? It says that in there, such as streams, rivers, intermittent streams.
Where do you see that?
In 1A. Capable of being documented, right? It seems like we're getting into a much grayer area on the artificial. Seems like it would behoove us.
Is the red replacing the black? It's just an addition to.
In addition to, yes, sir. Commissioners, can I make a suggestion? First of all, I need to, I see that intermittent streaks, I don't know what those are. I think it needs to say streams. So I need to make that, I need to make that amendment anyway. So I prefer that you didn't make a motion on this today because already I see I need to amend this. Can I request that this be placed again back on the May 27th, no, your
June 3rd.
June 3rd agenda because you were, yes, you're gone on the 27th. The June 3rd agenda, there's no sense of urgency
I'm
to
here,
this.
it's just a short.
You have another a meeting afterwards.
Yeah, let's.
And so what I will do is I'll take the MCA 76.3.603, kind of rework that, not reword, but rework this section to include that and get rid of this, the portion that says on the aquifer upon which the project is located, and put in more reasonable language. I'll send it upstairs, not up this building, to the county. So used to saying upstairs. Send it to the county attorney's office. I'm sorry, for them to take a look at it because clearly this language is in place because of a lawsuit that we were a party to. So we need to make sure that the legal team agrees with what we're doing, and I will have this ready to go in front of you again on June 3rd, if that's acceptable.
That was going to be my recommendation.
Same brain.
Perfect.
You have it today, I don't. No, because of the legal ramifications, we want to be sure we.
Perfect.
And I hadn't. Didn't notice that. Capable of, okay. Do you want to move forward with the other supplements or just wait?
Nope, Madam Chair, I'd prefer that you wait because they are all part of one
together.
document. I gave them to you in pieces today, just for ease of explanation to you and to the public. But no, I do not want you to take action today, if I can make that request.
We'll just kick the can.
To June 3rd. We'll have a solution by June 3rd.
Right.
All right, anything else from me before I head back?
No, but thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then this mess of papers, I have lost my agenda, but I think that's the last thing on the agenda. Thank you. That is it. Yeah. We do have public comment on any subject not on the agenda that the commission has jurisdiction over. Any public comment? Okay, we will. Oh,
I'm not going to sit here for 2 hours.
well, I expected. I'm like, well, he's gonna, okay.
Number one, this has to do with filing of the family transfer exemption. Is there a code that gets filed with the family transfer exemptions?
Is there a what?
A code, like an FC or an FE, which I'll have to look back and see, but somewhere in either Montana law or in your own subdivision regulation, there is a note that with filing of family transfer exemptions, or exemption, not necessarily just family transfer exemptions, but any exemptions of a subdivision, that they need a code filed with them, so that when you look back, you can see if that was actually a family transfer exemption, a boundary relocation, or exactly what that exemption was.
Madam Chair, can I respond?
Please.
Somewhere I've seen a full list.
Commissioners, Madam Chair, my name is Angie Paulson, Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder. Madam Chair, can I ask Mr. Hahn a question?
Of course.
Mr. Hahn, are you referring, when you say the word filing, do you mean when it is initially filed with our planning department? Or are you saying officially recorded and indexed in the Clerk and Recorder's office?
Yes.
Okay, so you're speaking specifically to a family transfer, correct?
Well, I'm speaking to, in general, any exemption request.
Okay,
but
so
family transfer in particular is what I've been keying in on.
an exemption request is with the planning department, though, so that's not in my office.
Well,
You're saying
the certificate of survey, though.
When the certificate of survey is filed, when it's indexed, it is indexed as a certificate of survey, and it is noted on the survey itself what type of it is. We do have an internal check system, both the planning, I'm not going to speak on behalf of our planner, but in my office, and I've worked closely with the commissioners on family transfers, we have a full internal spreadsheet of family transfers, and the day it was transferred, and my office keeps very close eye on that. That is not a requirement, but our documents are indexed per MCA, and they can be searched at any time. So, and it would say on there, what it is in particular, what type of request, or what type of certificate of survey it is.
So when you're saying it's referenced as what type it is, where I know when you look at a certificate of survey for a family transfer exemption, it says at the top of it that it's for a family transfer exemption, but the thing that I'm looking at is when you stamp that document, or that certificate of survey or whatever, where you have that filing note up on the top of it, there's nothing required to be there in that part of it.
Madam Chair, Mr. Hahn, we index all of our documents the same way, regardless if it's a lien, or if a lien on a home, or if it's a recording. The content within that document is up to the legal entity that brings it forward, whether it be a surveyor or a lawyer or whoever, if it's the person recording it. So it would need to be specified under Montana Code Annotated for that particular piece of document. If it's a family transfer, then whoever files it needs to legally state what it is on that, and we record it. So we don't review it for legal content, we do the recording of it.
Good.
So
Thanks for that
what would the code tell us?
Pardon?
What would the code, if there is such a thing as a code, what would that tell us?
Well, the codes for family transfer exemptions are either an FE for family exemption or an FC as family conveyance, is what the list that I saw.
Okay. But like to what end? Like what you're asking because?
Well, the reason I'm asking is, like, I go in and look at the documents a lot here in the courthouse, and if I look through and I see a certificate of survey or whatever, I have to pull it up and I look at it, and I can usually see, or I can see what it is, but it would be nice if it had up where it's stamped at the very top that it's been filed and the date that it's filed. if it had just an FE or an FC or I don't remember what boundary location was.
Madam Chair, do you mind if I respond, please? Mr. Hahn, so if, I think, just want to make sure that I'm clear, I would say send this to me in an email so that I can get exactly what it is you would like, and then I can respond, and so give you a full response to that on our clerk and recording procedures, and then the legalities of what we record, why we record it, and then which piece of it the county is held liable to, and then which piece is for the surveyor or the law firm that records it, or whoever the entity is that's recording.
I can do that.
Okay, thanks.
All right. And I would like to thank Commissioner Rickmeyer for bringing forth the questions that you did on the family transfer too, because it really is a privilege. And there are so many documents that needed in. In doing some research here since the last time that there was a family transfer exemption, the affidavit just creates a rebuttable presumption. The documents that you have, which I think is the reason the Attorney General highlighted that under number 5 on the new affidavit, is because those documents are so important. And it's not an invasion of anybody's privacy to ask for those things, not if they're asking for that privilege. So I appreciate you reconsidering that. Thank you.
Thank you. Last things on our agenda are claims and minutes. Oh, we do have, I think it was the last meeting, McKenna Greg for Parks and Rec was appointed for a 3-year term. It should be a 2-year term.
Correct.
Okay, so I just wanted that in the minutes.
Yes, thank you for remembering that.
We'll just make that correction. If you would, Angie.
Yes, that.
And we have minutes from April 1st. We have all reviewed. Is there a motion?
Go ahead.
Ready, go. I move to approve minutes from April 1st.
I will second that.
Is there any public comment on the minutes from April 1st? Any public comment? All those in favor of approving the minutes from April 1st signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Pass this down to Angie. We have a lot of claims. The first one is $11,591.97.
Madam Chair, will you repeat that? I apologize.
Of course. I want to make sure I get it right. $11,591.97.
Thank you.
The second one is $1,000 even.
Oh, that never happens.
The next one is $39,249.75. Next one is $2,334.32.
Could you repeat that one?
Yeah, please.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
$2,334.32.
My brain couldn't process that.
I did the same thing. I was trying to write 2 million, but that would be really bad if I write things for 2 million.
The last set is for $282,318.88, and that's payroll.
I would move to approve claims and set amount.
Is there a second?
Oh, sorry, I second. Wow.
Yes.
Sorry.
Is there any public comment on the claims
Sorry.
as presented? Any public comment? All those in favor of approving the claims as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Claims are approved. And if there's nothing else, We will adjourn at 12.